Just due to go to India in January. I still haven't booked the ticket, although I've got the date sorted. So India will be 8th to the 20th of January. And the reason I haven't booked the tickets, Ruth, really is to check in with you, really, post Nepal. And, you know, there was always that possibility that I'd hop on up to Nepal and, I don't know, jump on, trying to support things forward. There's a chance that maybe Chris would be there, maybe Jay would be there. I don't really know fully whether that's worth doing at this stage or not, because the trip to India is just a preparatory trip in readiness for a training further in the year, so which might itself link up, you know, with nipping to Nepal at that stage. Carolyn has contacted me with a WhatsApp a little while ago to say that she's still interested in supporting the India work. So thank you, Carolyn, and I apologize I haven't got back to you on that. So it would be good, you know, to connect.
Good, no problem.
See where, you know, where your energy is for that at the moment. And if you're still up for it, we can stay in touch about that. And even when I'm in India, you know, but would be quite nice to have certainly an update, you know, from you in terms of where you're at before I go, and I'll update you too. So that'd be fantastic. I'd, you know, reconnect, I guess, with Blueprint in relation to all that work. I'm very excited, having spoken to Ruth this morning about your kind of update on the line work itself in Nepal. That's terrific, Ruth, because I think a little part of me is just questions the viability of such a short, intensive training course with no follow-on support, you know. There's a lot of follow-on in Pakistan, and I think that's part of the reason why it was very successful. And, you know, I don't know, maybe, and I have been unable to get over there and offer personal support. So I think I've just been a little bit disheartened, you know, but it's fantastic to hear you, Ruth, be quite excited and say you've seen so much impact really from that training. That's really great to hear. I look forward to hearing that.
So B, just before we move back to BP200 funding, either it would be good to, I'll send emails to both you and Jay and Caroline if she's going to be involved in India about Nepal, because yeah, there's full possibility of doing follow-up stuff here probably in spring, so we'll talk about that. So maybe, I mean, there's a little space for an update on the Nepal project that I think it's...
Well, I can talk to you, right, I was saying I can talk to you a bit later about that,
yeah,
maybe, because I'm planning some stuff. I can stay on for now, Ruth. I'm in the middle of I'm really sorry, I can't. Is that okay? Is there anything else I can contribute?
I think we can, I think if we speak later about Nepal, that would be really helpful.
Yeah. Okay, happy to do that.
Okay, cool.
All right, okay, everybody. And have a good meeting.
Thank you.
Heart is with you.
Ciao.
Bye.
So folks, sorry, just back on BP200 and funding. I'd like to hear something from Nick and Dro and Dominic as well. Who would like to
go? I'd be happy to jump in.
Great.
Sorry, I dropped off a little bit on the call earlier. The initial funding was quite disappointing, but I am very optimistic right now. I think that with the small bit of sort of bridge funding we have, we can continue to develop the toolkit and combine that with some sort of smaller demonstration installation at Tamara that can really be powerful for the next round of funding to allow us to get the whole money. And so I'm seeing this as, it's great. It's just an opportunity to really reevaluate where we're at right now and use our energy now to bridge towards the larger project. But I feel wonderful about where we are and confident that what we're doing is going to be an amazing gift to the world, and nothing will stop it. It's money, energy, nothing. And that we will make the change that we want. And yeah, I have a bunch of ideas, and I'm really excited for when the BP200 team has our call next Friday, because I think that we can continue to make it happen.
Great. Dro, do you have something to say about this? And Dominic.
So I don't have much to say, just I really echo what Nick said. I feel that it's amazing the work that's been done. These things take time. And when progress is made, the next step takes a little time. And also we have some consolidation, some processing time to, fine tune the direction of the project, which is also good. I don't know if it was mentioned. I was just wondering how much money is missing for the going ahead with the original plan?
That's a good question. I also had that question. How much money do we have and how much money is missing?
There's about, you're on mute, Christoph, but it's about 200,000.
That's
It's not really clear. I mean, but in the dimension of there is probably something like 40,000 really available, roughly. And the calculation, including the implementation and so on, was in the range of 250,000.
Okay, so this is just, for me, when working with this kind of project, it's just good to have that goal, like to know, no, we're aiming for getting another 200,000 euros to get back on course. And then as a group, we hold that, there's a good chance of making it happen.
Great.
And the final budget, it was also in a way clear that the final budget can only be really calculated once the next more precise planning phase has been done. So that was also, but I think the dimension is correct with the numbers, and then it needs more steps in between. So with this bridge money, probably we can come very much close, and I'm also happy to hear what were the ideas of Nick and Brecht, but I think this is for the other call.
Yeah.
So, and then we update you after we come to next steps and conclusions or proposals.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'm done, thank you.
So just Dominic, I think you're the person that hasn't spoken about this, and then myself.
Okay, yeah. It's a little bit unfortunate that we didn't get the money that we were looking for, but that should.
Can you speak up a little bit, please?
Yeah, it's a bit quiet.
Sorry. Just because we did not get the money we were looking for doesn't mean that we should stop working and thinking about how we can achieve the goal. So, I was thinking about it a little bit more detailed, and from my point of view, the Living Manual could become its own project with no constraints to the BP200, because the kit that was developed by Surplus is so good, and it's already there and can be used and implemented without having or creating a site of physical. Could be all on the net. It could be done.
You mean the pattern language set?
Yeah, the pattern language set, the solutions database, and the regenerative continuum could be all on the net, and it's not bound to the actual implementation of the site.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have ideas who would fund such a project?
I think that's a question that we should ask Ethan. Ethan was already on the move when we didn't get the money. There was already an idea of having a crowdfunding campaign going.
So speaking of crowdfunding campaign, something that I thought was that Pamela has already had many.
Can you also speak louder, please?
Yes, I'm gonna put my other microphone. Sorry, I thought there was someone at the door and I went to check it out.
So I thought two things. Just to say that okay, I think I want to say three things. One, I thought that it's after going to the pattern language conference, I think also the Surplus team opened another field of network, and I was wondering if within that field there are maybe some potential or some possibilities for funding the framework. And I think it's important to maybe split the projects to get funding. So applying for funding just for the framework, for creating this pattern language for refugees. We also thought that maybe going to the Humanitarian Innovation Fund with that proposal of the well, I thought that of the framework maybe would be an idea. And I thought that for the implementation at Tamera, I thought that really doing a crowdfunding campaign, because Tamera always has like very successful crowdfunding campaigns up to like 50,000 euros, 60,000 euros. So I thought that for it's, yeah. And then my personal opinion, and after talking to Petra yesterday, Magnus and I had a meeting with Petra. No, on Saturday we had a meeting with Petra. After talking to Petra and after talking to some people at the Convergence, at the International Permaculture Convergence, I think it's easier to fund if we have another site that's not in Europe. So where people are I think it's just easier to fundraise if we are directly impacting people that are in crisis situations or in vulnerable situations. So I think this is also something to think about. And I have a few proposals. Maybe at the next BP200 meeting I can take part, because
Can you actually move your mouth further from the microphone? It's really a hard sound.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is it? Anyway, also speaking with Petra, she said like there are 260 refugee camps now in Bali, and why not also do some prototyping in one of those refugee camps and then using that to get more funding. So, you know, like I think we're kind of thinking along the same lines. We just need to think of a coherent strategy. That's what I wanted to say about this. Okay, anything else, people? Anything else to say about this?
Yeah, could I just add my fourpenneth? I would love to get the services of what in this country is called a quantity surveyor, who could actually look at one of the worked up surplus schemes that the two that we saw at Tamera last September, to actually cost it, not our guesswork on the back of a cigarette packet, but actual costing for labour and materials, so we really, really know what we're aiming at, with an overall breakdown for earthworks and materials for the living quarters, pipe work, storage, and so on. And as I say, you could almost, somebody who knows what they're doing as a quantity surveyor could look at the site through photographs and look at the surplus presentation and come up with some figures that certainly were plus or minus 5% or so. And then we really know what we're aiming at.
Cool.
Sorry, final thing. I like Brecht's idea of prototyping. That's a nice word, because after all the talking and the planning, I'm one of those people who loves to get my hands on a shovel. If I can't see a shovel at the end of all of this, how many more ideas do we need?
Agree. I think, yeah.
Can I didn't get what Pete wanted to tell us.
So from the design, it's possible, and I'm sure at Tamera you also have people like this, including Christoph, someone that can go into the detail of the quantity of material that would be needed, how many hours of labor, and really cost the project in detail. Do like a detailed costing of the project.
Yeah, we have started that. I don't think that these details are now, I don't know how to talk about that, because then we would really have to go into it. It needs some more intermediate steps before, which is part reviewing the preliminary design. So if you, the proposal that we are now reviewing with the surplus team together had this phase until now, and then there was a review, a detailed planning, an implementation plan, and all these work steps. We have to go through them. Otherwise, we are not really. We cannot now take the shuttle. We can, but that's what we already did. So yes, and this is why we have to decide for the next phase and to look how much money we need to do that. To keep on working. In the moment we are not working, so nobody sits there and does detailed calculation. Of course, that's one of the next work steps, and we need to decide now who does what kind of money does it cost, and so on.
Yeah.
And then we are doing what Pete is saying. Of course, that's part of the job.
Okay,
yeah,
folks.
and then
yeah, Nick, go on.
I just wanted to jump in on Ruth's first point about the Pattern Language Conference and the momentum that came out of that. I think there is some funding possibilities to look into. And we were able to get to the support of the organizers for next year's Pattern Language Conference. And the entire theme of next year's World Pattern Language Conference is around pattern languages for refugees.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was amazing. And we've gotten some really important contacts of people that are willing to work and collaborate and peer review our work. And I think there is going to be a lot of momentum sort of outside of the Blueprint team that is willing to work on this. And so that was, a capital that we never expected and was amazing. And we're going to be able to leverage, I think.
Good. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Okay, that's good. Thank you, folks. So I think just to summarize, BP200, the team are going to go through the next steps and seeing how to really leverage the money that we have in order to get the rest of the money. And then I believe you just present to everyone else, right, what the conclusion is or what going forward, what the plan for going forward. Okay. Is that a fair summary? And maybe take these ideas and what people said on board.
Yeah, and also I think that the feeling at the moment is that the Living Manual can not exactly go its own way, but is a distinctly separate entity connected to BP200 with an umbilical cord, but certainly not living in BP200's pocket.
Good. And I think also this idea of the pattern language and the framework also perhaps being its own entity and being able to find funding from different places. And likewise, the Tamera implementation.
I just want to add to, because the Living Manual has now been mentioned a few times, and we are going to, we have a kind of update report document that is being prepared right now that we will try to send out in the next week or two, first to the BP200 team and then to the core group, just so people know these are things we've been talking about and we want to share it with everyone, and it's going to happen soon.
Maybe one more thing to mention. There is an idea in the air that we will have a meeting with CAFOD, this UK aid organization that Bernd and I have already been consulting, and Nick knows Jeff, and so on and so on. And they had the idea that that a team of us comes to London and has a detailed session cross-pollinating the work that we have been done and the most burning questions that they are having from their practical experience. And it was planned for January. Now it's postponed to February, so it's a little bit vague still. And also, just to say that the positive on the feedback on what we have been working on and what we shared in our last Blueprint meeting here in Tamera, all the work was really positively received, and that we will go on to explore this collaboration. Bernd will also go for week or two to Lebanon with Matthew, one of the leading managers of CAFOD. So there is a line developing in that direction, and maybe also this gives a slight redirection also for the BP200 process. Nevertheless, they were very happy that we are still following this in theory and in practice, and they hoped that they can actually use the education platform that we are planning with Blueprint 200 with Intermera. So that was also for the first time that I heard it that clear, because before often also from their side came, oh, it's very hard to invest in Europe, why don't do somewhere else, and so on. But it seems that let's say the continuation of the thoughts and also the crisis situation that we are facing also puts this education value on the higher management levels very much more on the agenda than some years ago. And I hope that I can give, or someone, or Bernd next time, give a real update when it's clear. I'm always a little bit hesitating to put in things when they're not clear, but I think this is good for you to know that they are in the air. And you can, yeah.
And they they also offered that we should also ask them and contact them that they can give us advice on where to find funding. So this is also still a step that we need to take. We didn't follow up on this yet.
Ruth, you need to
Ruth, you're on mute.
Unmute, Ruth.
Unmute. Okay, great. The next thing we talked about was some project updates. So I think the projects that I thought we could update on, I mean, I think we've heard the update on BP200. Ethan mentioned sending a little report and an update on the Living Manual. I don't know if there is anything you would like to share with us today, Ethan, regarding Living Manual. And then I also wanted Nick to give an update on Algeria and the camp project. And I also have a few updates. Yeah, Jay, I don't know if you also have any other updates about projects, but I have an update for you, Jay. Okay, Ethan, so maybe we start with you. Anything about the Living Manual? Any updates you would like to?
Sure. I mean, so I'll give the summary of what, like, the report we're going to write is basically looking at the feedback that we received from the Blueprint meeting in September, followed by what we've done so far since then, and then kind of a expression of what our intentions are for the next 6 months, and then like the vision for 5 years, for example. And so this is the kind of format that the report is meant to have, just so people are updated. We want to show how we took into account what was said, and then are moving forward, because there's also a lot of ideas that come afterwards. I think the basic idea right now is following this line where we start building the Living Manual and also prepare, in a way, this kind of community to create a community of practitioners, of developers, aid workers, and people in this field, and sustainability experts and regenerative designers, who all start to contribute to this creature that will grow. And we're going to start small. So this is where we want this report to kind of show where we're at, get confirmation from our group, make sure this is the way we want to go, if there's any things that need to be changed, and then to start moving it. And we have purchased the Living Manual website, like 2 site names for livingmanual.org and .net, I think. We have a little prototype thing that was created before the Public Language Conference. From there, it's just start finding the times when, okay, we're going to create it to a certain point, and then launch kind of a beta test that people can see and start contributing to a little bit. like have our most close network of Blueprint and the people we know that can start adding and utilizing it, checking it, and to expand that, and ideally at some point really say, here's what we're doing, this is the living manual, and make it big, but this is in some time.
Great.
That's the kind of development of the vision right now.
Thank you. That's really good to know it's been moving.
And I think it is also good when Ethan once shares, we have a format here in Tamera that when we have guests, we once at the end of the course or so, we present concrete projects. And there was one meeting where Ethan presented Blueprint 200, and there were very interesting contacts made, especially one young woman. I share what impressed me because she spoke about being in refugee. She works as trauma therapy for children, and she works in refugee camps in Iraq and in Iran. And she told an experience she had by working with 2 different refugee camps, one having the design where a huge row was and very anonymously structured. And the second refugee camp was structured in a way where always 4 families built together one nucleus. And she said to work with the children from the 2 camps was like heaven and like day and night. So, and this was for me such a valuable information in order to see how much the design really, really gives a different possibility for the people to live. So it was very, I don't know the English word. It made me stronger when I heard this. Gave more sense to the initiative of really, really taking care of the design of such a camp.
This woman also, I mean, these camps are all very close, and she offered the possibility that this could be another site visit at some point, and to see the different designs that are all implemented right now. And I thought, so I have her contact. She's emailed me with other information too. And at some point we should act on that too. Thanks, Bori.
That's great. So folks, any more updates? Maybe Nick, do you want to talk a little bit about Algeria? Did you apply for the Spring Prize in the end? What has moved maybe since our last meeting?
Sure, we did apply. We put that in yesterday. For everyone that's not aware, the project in Algeria is sort of our follow-up to our site visit that we did to the Tindouf Western Sahara refugee camps. And we put in an application for a regenerative business incubator, looking for funding to help do training to support the youth that are there and to do some micro grants to help get some businesses going that can utilize existing waste products and turn them into beneficial products that can be utilized in the camp, growing food, fodder, these kind of things. The application went pretty good. Yeah, it was a difficult application, and I was wondering the whole time how Carolyn was doing it for Blueprint, so I'm super happy she did it, because I'm sure it was very difficult, so thank you, Carolyn. But so we put that application in, we'll see how that goes, and we have continued to develop it, reach out to contacts within the camps and in Algeria to try and start to build a bit of a network for when we get funding that we can get the ball rolling instantly. And Ruth, I need to reach out to you separate from this call because we have our concept note and some other documentation to put to the contacts that you told us about.
That's great. And just to update on this, I was with Kosha at the climate conference in Bonn, Germany, and they have really good contact with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Germany. And every country that has a German embassy, there is the possibility of putting forward small projects up to 20,000 euros in community development to be funded by the embassy. So we were going to try to see if in Algeria, one of the project in the camp could go through this funding as well. Anyone else would like to give
Can
an
you
update?
once more say, I didn't understand, what project in Algeria do you want to fund?
It's the team went to visit the Algeria camp, and there were two ideas that came out. One was a campaign, an advocacy campaign, so they are feeling heard and seen in the media and then feel like they don't have to go to war. And a second one was to start small businesses in the camp that are connected to food security and to utilizing some of the resources, the waste resources that they have in the camp. So two fairly small projects. Okay.
What I shared with Nick was that Patrick Barbier, who's currently the head of the European Commission International Aid based in Algeria, who goes to Tindouf regularly, was really, really excited to hear that the guys went to the camp and did a initial meeting and like seeing what it was like, and is curious to what comes out and wants to support a project. So I also asked Nick to send through the application once it's done, so I can already connect them and for him to get an idea of what they want, to see if he can either guide towards funding or even channel funds through the European Commission immediately, directly. So it looks like something's going to happen in Algeria somehow.
That's great. Yeah, that's good. Anything Jay, do you have, we already, maybe we speak a little bit about Lebanon. You mentioned already that they didn't want trees, so we're probably not going to apply for, the deadline is tomorrow anyway, for toilets, for this toilet project.
I'm unmuted, yes?
You are unmuted, yes.
Hello. Right, yes. Yeah, so the deadline is pretty well passed, and so that's not going to happen. Yeah, I'm happy to work with ACTED, as I said, on that one in North Lebanon.
So maybe I give the update then, because I think I have more information now. So there are two informations from Lebanon. I was also with Amani from Soils Lebanon, and they're really keen on doing, one idea that I'm just having now is, if we're talking about prototyping some of the patterns from the pattern language for refugee camps, one prototype could also be in Lebanon. So Amani has Soils Lebanon now, they have a good relationship with the local camp, and there is the possibility of doing some projects in the small refugee camps that could be prototypes. So I'm thinking that maybe some prototypes could be at Tamera, some prototypes could be in Bali, some prototypes could be in Lebanon, and maybe together we do a showcase of BP200. Maybe this is a picture that we can work towards. So and then speaking with Petra, she's doing the monitoring, quality monitoring for the big ACTED projects. The water retention landscape project was really not very good or very well done, Jay. I thought you and Bent would be upset. But and Petra needs to do one last quality visit. So we thought of getting small funding. This was Magna's idea, to send Jay or Bent with Petra as the technical person to help advise on the probable continuation of the project. So the two ACTED projects for landscape restoration and household gardens is probably going to receive more funding. Oh, sorry, I have to stop now to be an auntie. Hi, lovely.
It's a cement truck.
It's your truck. Can I see your truck again?
That's it.
That's it.
Oh wow! It's a cement truck. No, it's a lime stabilized. It's a lime stabilized soil truck.
and different than one man.
Oh wow, you're gonna build something.
Man, different than one man. And
It's
next
good.
man, I met the other man, and
Right, that's
All
enough.
right.
Sorry about that. I thought you liked to stay alone.
Thank you. That was nice. So yeah. So anyway, there are these possibilities to follow up with Lebanon.
Ruth, once more, I'm sorry, but I don't understand very clearly. This
Okay.
means that the ACTED project started, that Magnus put in some application where also Christoph and Bernd gave their input too.
Yeah, yeah.
So this started and is now a follow, that there will be now a follow-up.
Yeah. So
Is
what?
that-
Yes, and I think it's an important update. So Bent and Christoph helped write the terms of reference. When the project went to choose, when they wanted to choose the company to implement the project, they only did it in Lebanon. So they didn't do an international bidding. So only companies operating in Lebanon could apply. And the engineering firm who did the job did a job with cement and, you know, the usual civil engineering stuff that we know doesn't work. Well, it works, but it's high maintenance. Petra was hired by ACTED to do the follow-up monitoring and evaluation of the project. And the project is probably going to do have a next evolution. So with Petra and Magnus, we were talking, what's the pathway for Blueprint to be involved in the next stages? So this is what we're discussing now. And it may be that one option is for Bent or Jay to go and help Petra do the monitoring.
And who is Petra?
She's from Uganda. She's a collaborator of Blueprint. She's the person that ever came to any meetings because she's in Bali.
Ah, okay.
But she's a friend of Magnus, and she was the founder of the Indonesian Permaculture Center.
Okay.
It's not center, I don't know. So Lebanon is also a possibility with Soils Lebanon, small refugee camps, prototyping some stuff there.
This means they have refugee camps now there.
Many, and they're small. So they are 100 people, 200 people, 800 people. They're not huge camps.
Because at the time when Bernd and Christoph started to speak with Magnus, there were no refugee camps yet.
There are many. Yeah, there are many now. So that's one update. So in Lebanon, there are two things: ACTED project and Soils Lebanon with the small refugee camps.
Ah, okay.
And Nepal, there is the possibility, Joe and I were both very impressed with the resilience to recovery projects, resilience through recovery projects here in Nepal. It's a really beautiful model. There was a village, we saw a village where, the people don't wear shoes. The village was covered in plastic. Everything was destroyed. They didn't have drinking water. Jay, just to say that you're considered the father of that village. And Prabina is the mother, because it was your idea to do a project in that village. And they couldn't, the smell was so strong, there was no sanitation, it was just really bad. And now we saw a village with houses. Okay, the houses were not built by that project, but they had drinking water, they had toilets. The women now know where their organs are. They didn't even know what was inside them. They're saving seeds. They have demonstration gardens. They're working with, everyone is growing food. Before in that community, people just didn't grow food. They're growing food. They're making their own gardening tools. They developed some tools for singing corn. I mean, you could see the evolution of the village. There is no plastic in the village anymore. Like it was quite impressive. So I just spoke on the phone with Chris today, and both Oxfam and People in Need, two big NGOs, they're doing reconstruction projects in Nepal, are going to hire the barefoot consultants and adopt a similar model. So that's like a result or a scaling up this work that was done. So that's really exciting, and this just happened today. And Jay, I think you're very much welcome to in spring come and do the water retention spaces, and hopefully this will be funded by Lush as well. So I wanted to give you this update.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, you dropped out for the past couple of minutes. I lost signal, so I missed a lot of that. But I gather something's happening in Nepal.
Yes, and you're probably coming in the spring, Jay. That's all you need to know.
That's very nice to know. Okay. Well, I also need to send you some photos of Kule 5 before the rebuilding, which I'm afraid I forgot to do, but I will do that this afternoon.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
Are we talking about Kule?
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah, Kule. Yeah. That was in a really bad shape, and now it's really nice. Well, really nice. You know, it's nice, nicer.
Good, thank you.
Okay, folks, and I know it's getting late, so I have so many more. I have so many more updates because I've been doing all of these things, and yeah, but maybe I just send an email.
Please send an email. I'm hungry.
We need to change location. We will be back in a minute because we are in a living space with a very ill Kaya. Yeah?
Okay, sure. I also think we should be closing because it's almost an hour and a half of. So I just wanted to ask whether anyone has any more project updates or questions about projects or things that you wanted to know before we move on to the next part. No?
Maybe a question for Dror, if anything ever came out of the Rojava, or if that thread is still alive.
Ah, good.
So, no, actually, I haven't heard from my people there for a while. We didn't synchronize. He was asking me to come and help, and a few times I was ready to go, but then he wasn't available. And now we haven't spoken in several months, so I don't really have an update. I think they're doing well. Like militarily, they kicked out ISIS from the southeast. But the future is very uncertain there with Turkey and and the Syrian government coming back into power. So,
is it worth checking in with them?
Yes. Actually, you're giving me inspiration to do that. I will.
Great.
I will write my man.
That'll be good. Anything else, folks? Any other questions or things we would like to know about projects and things that are open? Okay, maybe, so while they change, can I just say about Bali? So there is the potential of having government support for doing pattern language stuff in the camps. And with the government support from Bali to really do stuff in the camps, I think it's much easier to fundraise. So I'm going to send an email to the BP200 team to see if this is a line that you would like to follow. Because it's a possibility that's open for us. And this would be quite something.
Sounds like a huge possibility.
Yeah.
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 It would be good to hear more.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk more. Great. And now I just kind of wanted to do a checkout. And the checkout, I just wanted to ask, what are your next actions for Blueprint? So maybe what are the 1 or 2 things you are going to do for Blueprint? What are your next actions for Blueprint? And yeah, maybe what's a dream for next year? So that's it, a dream for next year and your next actions for Blueprint. So something more long-term and something more short-term. Should we wait for them to come back? I don't know if we start.
I imagine they're just walking 10 meters.
While we wait, Ruth, I can say...
Cool. Go on, Nick.
I just wanted to say, please reach us to us about Bali, because I'm very interested and I'm quite close in Thailand until the end of January or so, and would be more than happy to offer whatever I can be.
Great, thank you. It's my fault because I need to write you and Petra an email, and I think I'm just going to do, as soon as I finish this call, this is going to be my next action, and then you two can talk to each other, and I don't have to be the bottleneck. But I think it would be amazing if you could go and see what the possibilities are, because if we can really get support from the Indonesian government, then, you know, then I think it's like, it just makes getting funding so much easier from anyone, from Humanitarian Innovation Fund, from CAFOD, from whoever. Yeah.
Yeah, and if we can show that we are applying this toolkit already, even though it's still in the design phase, that we are already applying it on the ground, it definitely helps for funding.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And Petra, you know, is strong. Like they have good people in Indonesia. Well, they're back. They're back.
Yeah,
okay.
Nick, I think it would be all around just nice for you to meet Petra, if possible.
Yeah, true.
Because they've developed so much educational material themselves.
True, yeah. Okay. All right, folks. So now we'll do our checkout round. And Bohi and Ethan, what I said while you were away, we'll just do a round very short with what's your dream for Blueprint for 2018? And what's your next action for Blueprint? So what's the next thing you're going to do about Blueprint? And then also what's your big plan for next year? So maybe, would anyone like to start?
Yeah, I could do it.
Okay, Jade, go. Your dream for next year and your next action.
Well, the next action is very simple. I'm going to send you the photographs of Kule when it was just a heap of rubble. But I think because I've got a photograph from pretty much exactly the same place as one of the photos that's in reconstruction mode. So that will be very telling. The next thing also involves Nepal with the lime stabilized soil, working remotely with Zach. I need to update with Zach on that one. And this visit in spring would be a very interesting way of carrying that work forwards, because I think it's very important that we do that. Also, I need to let the group know about Clara, my wife, is having a pretty major operation in January, mid-January, which means I'm going to be out of action for about 6 weeks, having to look after her and the boys and the dogs in the cottage. So, yeah, that's another thing which should be known. Okay, that's my update.
And your dream for Blueprint for next year? What's your dream?
Well, that's Nepal.
Nepal is your dream.
Yeah. That's my dream, is to actually do that over the whole of Nepal. Save flooding in Bangladesh.
Awesome. Okay, I have some updates for you on this as well. After. Okay, next person. Who would like to go next? Your dream for 2018 and your next action for Blueprint.
The next action for Blueprint is helping Ethan step through the feedbacks and preparing then the document for the team. And the wish is to see the living manual live.
Good, thank you. Next person?
Yeah, my next steps is to continue to look with the BP200 team at the best way forward at this point. My dream, would be to look back next year, same time, maybe different place, and say, oh my God, all the things we didn't know, and so much that has happened that we had no idea about, but we were open enough to welcome in all the possibilities. And we stuck together as a team.
Oh, thank you. Next.
So I can go. My next action will be to write Rojava, check in with them. My vision for next year would be to come out of hibernation and see how the work that I did here begin to integrate with the bigger network. And also I hope to fly out and join the action a couple of times around the globe.
Great. Next.
My next steps are to share my ideas on a pathway forward for BP 200. My dream for the end of 2018 would be that we have our toolkit further developed and we are offering it to the world. And my personal dream for next year is to be deeply involved in the humanitarian world and find ways that I can help on site in some refugee camps. I really, really, really want to get some hands-on experience in camps.
Oh, great. I have one update for you, Nick, about that. And Rosemary Morrow. Okay. Next.
Well, in the face of all that silence, it's me. I think actually everybody has said the dream thing, the vision thing for me. But what I'm actually looking forward to next year are a couple of really productive meetings face-to-face at Tamera in April and so on. Thinking back to last September that we did with the Living Manual and thinking next April what we're going to do. Again, presenting and getting whole loads of feedback that are going to send us whooshing ahead.
Great. Great. And what is your next action, Pete, for Blueprint?
Oh, next action for Blueprint. I'll get my head together with those other two, Dom and Ethan, and step by step. Well, I tend to do what I'm told to do. I find it much easier.
Okay, great. Next person? Ethan, Caroline Bori.
Hi. Okay, we're I feel it's really similar to Pete and Dom. We will write this report. That's the next step, and yeah, to move the Living Manual forward and get funding, start so that we can actually get this project off the ground and start the community.
Cool.
Bori?
Next step, what I will do as a spiritual experiment is I want to accompany the Lush application that the two of you put in. I started this morning already. This is really, but this is like an experimental line, a spiritual experimental line that I want to follow with this application. And which this morning already was very interesting. I will share when you come here. I will share face to face. And my vision for next year is that we can start implementing Blueprint 200 here on site.
Great. Carolyn?
So my next task is to close out the expenses from our last meeting. I have the last few payments to make to those with UK accounts, and the money is ready this week. So you will receive the last of you with the UK expenses. You will get your money back now. So that's closing out for the year. And then for the dream picture, I have two. One is closing, like actually starting the site in Tamera. And the other is I want to spend time with Ruth somewhere doing something. Like, yeah, last year we did this workshop thing for a week in Brussels, and I I missed something like this. So those are my two for the year.
Your dream can come true. I think my next action is to send so many of you individual updates about contacts and things like this. And my vision for next year. Yeah, I think my vision for next year is to end the year having done a few implementation projects in different parts, in Tamera, in Lebanon, in Nepal. Yeah, I think I wish for a busy year of projects. Okay, folks, I think that's it. I just wanted to say that Chris Evans gave his update that things are moving well here in Nepal with the Barefoot consultants and the big NGOs through a contact with Magnus. Patri also told me that she sent me an email today saying she's been changing lots of things about her life, trying to find a job so she can stay home, moving flats, and she had some health issues as well. Magnus is busy, like it's just crazy. It's really crazy. I'm here with him and it's just insane. Even in his free time, it's insane. It's like, wake up at 6 o'clock, go get climbing ropes, come back, do yoga, have breakfast, go climbing, come back, do this. You know, it's just crazy. But yeah, and who else sent a message? No, I think that's it. Those are the people that have sent messages through me. That's it. So, sorry?
I want to also to all give greetings from Bernd. He is now with a small group out, and we will update him about the talk we had. And Ruth, it would be great if you could send me a little update about the Lebanon stuff so that I pass on the information correctly.
Great. I think, okay, great. I'll do that.
Great, thank you.
Ah, wow. All right, so yeah, have a happy holidays. Would anyone like to say anything? Just a final goodbye. Caroline, I have our thing. We're going to spend a week with Patri in Barcelona in January.
No, I'll be in Bournemouth, but sounds great.
Oh yeah, so we'll spend a week in Bournemouth. Updating the website. Okay, folks. Really good to see you all. Can you show your faces one last time so we can say goodbye and then we'll come.
Yeah, annual screenshot. We do an annual screenshot of everyone.
Okay, I'm gonna do the annual screenshot. Nick, do you think you can do it? Oh!
And I have Defwa here with me. Hi! Hi!
That's such a cool surprise! I love the
Nice. Yes.
Hey!
Yes! Cool.
Nice.
Nice to see you. Lovely faces.
Get video on, I'm sorry.
Jay.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Pete, do you want to say something?
I'll believe you're going offline for 4 weeks when it happens.
Me too. No, we won't be completely offline, just once a week. That's all you're allowed.
Let us keep connected for a moment still.
Sure.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Bye. Do you want me to stay connected, Bori? Is that what you said?
I wanted to stay connected with Caroline for a moment
still. Okay.
But we also can stay connected, Ruth, because then the update about Lebanon can be also said.
Yeah.
So then you don't have to write it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay, yes. And Caroline, is it okay for you to stay and wait? Or I can also do it. I can also do it written with an email. I can also write to you.
Maximum 10 more minutes. There's babies and happening.
I just wanted to let you know that I wanted to ask, did you continue with trying to contact Matthew?
So you mean around funding with that?
Yeah, asking Bernd to get the contact and then writing to him
The intention was that Ruth and I would connect first, and together we would speak with CAFOD, and this is actually one of the first Ruth and I are connecting. And then with the talks happening around CAFOD in January, it just made sense, for me it made sense to just get clear on what they're doing and who's going where before then bringing an extra line. But it looks like the plans are settling, like Bernd's definitely going to Lebanon, they definitely want to meet in February. Now Ruth, I thought it was good that you mentioned it because Ruth now also knows about this idea, and then for us to connect.
I also, so when is Bernd going to Lebanon?
We don't know yet.
It would be so good.
It was planned end of January, but we don't know yet.
Okay, because if then that would be amazing, because if he could go there when Petra is there and help the technical part, the technical assessment of the project, that would be wonderful, because it means like the trip has already been paid for. I mean, the flights have already been paid for. It would.
I think we would need to speak this directly with Bernd, because I don't know where he is with this planning. This was 2 weeks ago. But back to what
Caroline said about
I
Matthew.
want Caroline that you please connect once with Bernd, or I can do it, so that, because it needs to follow up from our side, writing to Matthew, saying that the US funds didn't come in, and asking what would they suggest, where to, and maybe they even can help with contacts.
Yeah, that would be useful.
Yeah. Okay, so I ask Bernd, and then I send you the contacts of Matthew and Jess.
Great.
I'm happy to just write Bernd. It's fine. Either works. It's great.
Okay. And then you do the contact with Bernd directly, please.
You would prefer that I contact directly?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
I can email him. That's
great.
And
then Lebanon.
I think it's also probably best if I email, but I think with Lebanon, there is the possibility that the project is going to continue. Or there were 3 parts of the project: landscape restoration, collaborative agriculture, something they're calling like this, agriculture, and household, small gardens, household food security stuff.
And this is the acted stuff, right?
That's the acted stuff, yes. And this has all been done with local contractors. Petra is the person in charge of monitoring and evaluation and quality control. And they already had a permaculturist go on site to help her with the technical part. And it was a disaster. Basically, he went and then he just like I think people go to these places with their own dreams in their heads, and then when they get there and they find that it's not really permaculture, that there are all of these issues, there are local issues, of course, they freak out. So this guy just freaked out on her, and she felt a bit like, traumatized. And then she has one more field trip, and this is the field trip where after these evaluations, she can make certain recommendations. And it's really important that the recommendations she makes our recommendations in the direction of blueprint, in the direction of regenerative design. So we thought that maybe you'd be useful to have someone with technical expertise with her. But her budget doesn't include that. So Magnus was like, oh, maybe we can just find £2,000 or £3,000 to pay for a day rate and the trip there for someone like Bent or Jay. And based on these recommendations, they are probably going to do new terms of reference to perhaps continue at least 2 parts of this project. And yeah, and besides this, with Acted, there is, with Soils Lebanon, we also spoke of perhaps thinking of a small joint project, like a prototype project in a refugee camp that can already test out some of the things from BP200. So if Bent goes, it may also be interesting for him to meet Soils Lebanon, maybe visit one of these smaller camps and look at the possibilities there.
Okay.
It maybe make me. I had this weird, crazy picture when I was driving a few days ago of what the possibility was of actually joining Burn in Lebanon. And if that is possible, I would, to specifically with this in mind, we're coming with the Blueprint 200 package in mind and just kind of seeing how the consultancy that Burn offers goes and seeing where Blueprint 100 fits. Like at a point in the decision making, is it really leverageable? And then I feel I'm also able to support the project more. Like when we go for fundraising applications, sometimes it feels very abstract as where exactly the project lands on the ground.
So what can you just remind me, what is Bent going to do there? What's the consultancy?
He has an invitation, a personal invitation of Matthew of Kaffert to accompany him, because they say the situation in Lebanon, especially with the Syrian refugees, is one of those situations where they need help, where they need ideas, because
okay.
So he because this will be also for Matthew a difficult trip. He wants to have somebody there and to develop ideas on site.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, that's good. So, yeah, it would be interesting to, it would be really interesting if this is an opportunity for BP200, right? If these ideas that are developed on site are somehow connected to BP200. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And then the thing with Soils Lebanon is they also want to improve their expertise. So if a project like that happens, then it's almost like an opportunity to also train the local organizations so they can then scale up this work.
Yeah.
I think this is a big focus of BP200.
What is Soils Lebanon?
It's a permaculture group in Lebanon. They've received funding from Lush a couple of times. It's a very small team of mainly women. But I think they have good connections locally.
Okay, maybe this is anyway interesting for Ben to know about this organization when he goes. However, we can combine the intention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was interesting because the girl from Soils Lebanon, we did a really cool thing. So at the end of the permaculture convergence, this is why I went to the convergence, because Lush hired me to facilitate a day's workshop with all the groups Lush has funded.
Can I sign out from the call?
Sure, sure.
It's
That's fine.
There's a lack of patience now on the
Okay, it's okay.
children, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ciao, Caroline.
With love.
Ciao. Okay.
So it was really interesting because it was someone from the Kashmir, Sarah Keblatin from Philippines. You know Sarah from Emergencies.
Yeah.
They are getting £300,000 from Lush over 3 years.
Wow.
But that's it. It's projects working with the refugees. You know, that's what Lush wants to fund. And
we will find our funding sources for that what we really want to do. I'm sure.
I agree. And so this was and then Soils Lebanon was there. Boniface from Bangladesh was there. Bangladesh, Bangladesh, they have 600,000 new refugees on a country that's already like at the limit of its ecological capacity. It's just really crazy, boy. Like it's a lot of shit going on. But anyway, and this was a really good team. And then people from the. Sorry, I'm back. My phone died. It was my phone.
I couldn't hear you for quite a long time.
So in this meeting, there were people also from Bangladesh, Boniface from Bangladesh doing really amazing work, Chris Evans from Nepal. Anyway, it was a really good meeting with lots of ideas. And the people from Soils Lebanon, the connection now is not so good. I'm going to turn my video off. I'll turn your video off too. They basically said that it's been hard working in camps because these are not projects that can be done over 6 months. These have to be projects that develop the relationship with the camps and can last. So the best way to do this is to train people in the camp, right? We can't be in the camps for 2 years. So like train the people from CAFOD, train the people in the camps, train the local organizations. I think that's the best use of our time.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. And this was the positive, let's say, the positive resonance that we got from CAFOD. That they could see the value of an educational site.
Yes.
Very clearly.
Yeah, that's good. That was good. That's really important. And
it was.
And I have also made. I mean, I'm working on this decision, but I think next year I will. This was already growing in me, but now it's becoming stronger. That I think I'm going to stop doing consultancy in Brazil.
Wow.
And I'm going to just focus on projects.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a real big decision for you, right?
It's a big decision, especially because it's a decision that probably there won't be so much money and there will. But yeah. Yeah, because I think I need to put my energy into this, especially seeing so many possibilities. I just want to make it happen.
Yeah.
To support them to happen.
I like the direction. Of course, I like when you go in this direction.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I like also that, on a spiritual level, I also like very much that so many blueprint activities now focus around Nepal.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's interesting, no? That Nepal now really becomes. It looks like as if there would be, and I would like to speak about it in the spring meeting, whether this could be another focus of our activities.
Yeah, I think it's good, and I think it makes a difference because then you can create some impact. You develop the relationship with the people and the country.
Yeah.
I think it's good. And I also made I think I'm going to try to spend some time with Patri in January, because she feels really lonely doing Blueprint work. And I think, and I think she just needs, she just needs to feel like she's part of a team.
Yeah, good. Einat also will be there.
Who?
I don't know when. Einat.
Einat is going to be in Barcelona?
Yeah, but I don't know exactly when, whether she goes now, or maybe you will meet her.
Oh, cool. Because I'm thinking of going after the 10th and spending a week there. And
maybe you meet her.
And there is a proposal that I'm going to make for Lush for next year. I don't know if next semester or next year, is that because I don't know, I need to really think about this, but the work that Joe is doing is really interesting and really cool, like the fund for emergencies. And they are talking about increasing this fund, like doubling or tripling it. So she needs someone to help her.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of actually taking a job with Lush again, like taking maybe even a full-time job. I wanted to organize, to make a proposal, which I really don't know if it's going to be accepted, because we're not having the best relationship at the moment. But that I can work with them, provided I have some time for Blueprint. So maybe I only work 4 days a week, or 3 weeks in a month, or every 3 months I take a month off, something like this. That I can still keep like a third of my time for Blueprint. But I would love to get this job, because it's a way of moving so much and making so much happen, and building the network, which we started now. I just feel like it's really important work. So,
but can you once more explain to me? You said Joe is working for emergencies.
No, it's a.
What did you say? Then I misunderstood you.
Joe manages the slush fund that deals with disaster and emergencies.
Yeah. Now I have. This is of course. Tempting.
Very tempting. Yes, exactly. And maybe it's a lot of money, like £1 million or something like this.
Yeah.
And it means, being able to fund a lot of projects. So I don't know. I need to think about this.
Yeah, it would be cool also to connect with the Global Campus.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I know Claudinho also applied for the Spring Prize.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, they applied, and I don't know if more people I think some people from Palestine applied. So that's good. So it was good.
Ruth, do you already have an idea who will fund the upcoming Blueprint meeting?
No, and I need to one of the things that I want to do in January, I want to have a personal meeting with Mark, because I want money. I want to accept the money he's got. He doesn't reply to my emails.
Oh, yeah. And Mark is the man who takes care of this fund where Paolo was involved in intentions. Is this?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Then you do have to meet him.
I have to meet him. Yeah, I think I need to meet him face to face.
Yeah.
So so this is also because I'm staying in Europe until February the 18th.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of work to do in Brazil. Like it's just like I have a lot of online work to do, because we're starting this online course, and which is also a way for me that I can earn some money and not have to be there all the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, so so the things I'm really planning on supporting Blueprint a little bit. So staying with Patri, so we can really do the case studies, spending some time with Caroline, so we can do a really good update on the website,
This would be so important.
Yeah, I think it would be really important.
Especially now as the application is out and the only link is to the Blueprint website.
Yeah, which is not great. I think what I'm going to do right now, I think I can do that now, it's ask Nick to upload the March report onto the website.
March report and also the brochure, the funding brochure.
The funding brochure, yes, because that's something easy to just upload to the website.
And I think we sent the link to the core group, right?
Yeah, I think we have the link.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's important. Yeah, those two things can go straight away.
Yeah.
I think that's important. Yeah, good idea. The funding brochure. Because I know they're going to start reading the applications now.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be in January. It's going to be now. So we need to get that there.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, that would be very helpful. Yeah.
And I think also the Blueprint 200, the Blueprint times.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think that also is important.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll see if I can do something related to that right now. I think I can at least write just something short about the meeting.
Yeah. Yes, and uploading, maybe this is really a thing that Nick anyway does it. No?
Yeah, he can do in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. And he will, I'm sure that he wants to support.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do that now.
Great.
All right, dear. Thank you.
Thank you. So I wish you a good Christmas time still.
You too. And yeah, enjoy the winter in Tamera and the quiet time.
Yes, winter and rain. We invite some more rain. Yeah.
Lots of rain. Lots.
All right.
Okay. Lots of love. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Bravo.